Hello there, thank you for staying with us and welcome to another edition of Channels Beam. I'm Victor Matthias. Now, microblogging site Twitter announced their intention to launch their presence in Africa. However, the choice of its operational base on the continent became a subject of discussion and controversy amongst tech enthusiasts and users of the app alike. Today on the program, we will be looking at the pros and cons of this development, especially as it concerns Nigeria. Plus, we will be looking at the controversy that has trailed the announcement of a European Super League. But before we do all of that, let's first take a look at trending topics in the social cyberspace in the past week.
Nigerians continued their reactions towards the back and forth following the claim by Edo State Governor that the CBN printed 60 billion naira in March and disbursed same to the states to survive economic hardship. The federal government had, through Finance Minister Zainab Ahmed, labelled Obaseki a liar for his comments. However, Governor Obaseki doubled down a day later, advising the federal government to stop monetary rascality. The CBN has since reacted strongly through its Governor Godwin Emefiele, asking Obaseki to stop playing politics with the nation's fiscal and monetary policies. The calls for the resignation of Dr. Isa Ali Pantami has continued to rise days after publications brought to the fore the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy's past extreme religious views. On Sunday, many Nigerians took to social media calling for the minister's resignation, a drive that gained momentum on Saturday when Mr. Pantami for the first time acknowledged his past views but noted that he has since renounced those radical assertions.
Well, there you go. Those were some of the trends in the past week, but you can be a part of the conversation. Just tweet at us, at Channels TV, at Channels Beam, at Victor_MBIDI, and you can also use the hashtag Channels Beam. Now, of course, joining us to look at today's topic, we have with us Ifreke Inyang. He is the sports editor at Daily Post Nigeria. He joins us right here in the studio in Lagos. It's a pleasure to have you on the program today.
Thank you for having me here, Victor.
Of course, you're welcome. So, I mean, it's just been a lot of back and forth, so to speak. People saying, oh, yes, it's good for the sports. People saying, no, it's not good. But, I mean, of course, the European Super League, the controversy around it. I mean, what's your take? For how long has this been coming?
If we want to go back in time, we'd have to give credit to former Arsenal manager Arsene Wenger. He first spoke about this in 2009, and he said that something like this was going to happen. And in 2020, in October, just last year, in the middle of the pandemic, he also said that he needed the approval of the big English teams. So I think that with his position in FIFA, he got an insight into what was happening. And so for over 11 years, his prophecy was in the making. And so what we saw yesterday was a culmination of a lot of things that have been happening in the background. And with the statement they put forward last night, you could see that a lot of groundwork has been done. You know, and they've already secured funding from JP Morgan. So it's not something they just woke up to and decided on. And I think that it had been a silent battle between the top clubs and UEFA for a long time, and UEFA couldn't give them what they wanted. You know, which is what Wenger said, that except they give the big clubs what they want, they are going to pull out and do what they have.
What do the big clubs want?
They want more money, honestly. I mean, for the last year, football has run without fans and without a lot of income. So if there's an opportunity to make extra money, you know, playing among the between the big clubs, then why not? They take it. You know, it's about the money. Football is a business, and as long as fans realize that football is a business, and all they can do is buy season tickets or match day kits and all of that, and the big money is where the big money. For a club like Arsenal had to lay off players and even sack the mascot because there was not enough money in the last year. So football owners are really looking for a way to keep clubs above ground. That's what's happening.
So, but a lot of people are against this. I mean, they say it's detrimental to the fans. I mean, how true is that?
I think it's just a big emotional festival, really. I'm not for or against the Super League, but I think the reaction from last night, I don't even know where I stand on it, but I understand both sides of the argument and why they're making it. But, you know, for the longest, VAR in England has been killing football, you know, and you get money in England based on the position you finish in. So if a person is responsible for a VAR decision that costs you $1 million or $5 million, nobody bats an eyelid, and VAR is doing this every week. Nobody's batting an eyelid. So why do we come to why do we decide that suddenly Super League is going to destroy football, our club's values and tradition? And I mean, even the Premier League is a breakout league. That's what we are not saying, because in '92 they broke out from a league because of a lucrative TV deal. So what are you saying? This is basically history repeating itself.
Exactly, I was going to go. I mean, that means there's a history to all of this.
Yes,
so it's
just that
somewhere.
Every time this happens, a side is threatened, and a side has something to benefit from it. So obviously, this noise is coming from the people that are threatened, which is basically UEFA. Because the last I read, FIFA is in discussions with these clubs about admitting them to the Club World Cup. So it's really UEFA that is threatened, and the Premier League, of which, I mean, there's a precedence to this. So it's not something new. They just feel threatened that they can see history repeating themselves, and they're on the wrong side.
Well, I mean, if going by this history, I mean, the Premier League since '92, I mean, it's grown and grown bigger, you know, more attractive. I mean, shouldn't that be like some form of, okay, like it's been done before, and, you know, we might be doing it in a similar fashion. So, you know,
what is happening is that
worries over the whole incident.
What's happening is that the Premier League, they are feeling sidelined.
Premier League?
Yes.
How many teams from the Premier League would play?
6 teams, the top 6 teams. So if you have a Premier League without Manchester United, Manchester City, Liverpool, Tottenham, Arsenal, and Chelsea, what are fans coming there for? To come and watch West Ham, Aston Villa, and Brighton? No way. Yes. You know, so I think there's a bit of power tussle, and I don't know, anything could happen. It could end either of 2 ways. Either the Super League actually comes and blows everything away, or there's a sort of negotiation with
because I was
the EPL or UEFA, and then, because those are the 2 competitions.
Because how is it going to work?
Basically, the Super League is here to replace the UEFA Champions League and Europa League, because these games are going to be played in midweek. So what these big teams are saying, that we want to play different competition in midweek and then come back to our domestic local football.
Leagues, yeah.
So which means that they'll still be involved in Premier League, La Liga, Serie A, Bundesliga, wherever they play. But the Premier League doesn't want that, you know, because again, the Big 6 will be getting a check of like $400 million each. You know,
playing in the Super League.
Exactly, just for accepting to be part of it. So every other money that comes from TV rights and from sponsors have not been factored in yet. And it doesn't even, the Premier League has no say in that. So yes, and the Premier League doesn't want any of that.
Why though? Doesn't that boost the league? I mean, if you look at it in another perspective?
It doesn't really, because these clubs will have such a huge financial advantage in the market, and they'll be preying on.
So are they okay? So let me just bring. Are they thinking that, or do they feel that it's going to the financial fair play? Do you think, or do they think this will threaten it?
I don't think, in my honest opinion, I do not think financial fair play has ever existed. You know, because teams like Manchester City, like PSG, Chelsea. They've been in market. Not really Chelsea. Chelsea have been quite prudent, you know. I mean, their summer splash last year was because they got a bounty off Real Madrid. So they've been quite careful with their finances. But Manchester City and PSG, for instance, have been making some very snide moves in the market. And they've gone unpunished. Either they gave them a 30,000 euros, or so they said reduce your player. So that's I'm saying that when we talk about football traditions are eroding, our club culture, what are we talking about? Because every other year, there are decisions in football, they are killing the game, but everybody is just willing to accept it. So all of a sudden, because we are not part of the Super League and we are outsiders, we are now condemning it. But I read even Mesut Ozil was reacting to it and said, oh, young players, when they are growing up, when they are coming through, they dream of playing in the Champions League or the Europa League. I'm like, dreams even evolve, because the next generation can actually be dreaming about Super League. Again, I'm not making a case for them, but I understand the reality of the situation and that clubs have to look after themselves.
So, well, clubs have to, like you said, it's a business, so yes, indeed they have to look after themselves. But so now I think we kind of dwelled more on, apart from the fact that they're getting bigger checks and maybe playing in some form of an elite competition now, like an elite, because we have
the very best of the very best.
You know, of course, because we have the Champions League where you have, you know, the champions come. So this is like the elites of the elites.
Yeah.
What other pro can you take from this?
There's really nothing than just that.
The money.
It's not a big deal. It's nothing that you've never seen before in football. It's just that there's a new opportunity and several clubs have jumped on the bandwagon. There's really nothing to it. And so, I mean, if you're threatening them and say you're going to kick them out of the Premier League, going to kick them out of the World Cup, I don't even understand, because even UEFA are creating pointless competitions like the Nations League and the European Conference Leagues, and they are creating it just to get more money for themselves. Even the Champions League this morning was expanded to 36 teams and over 100 games. So you can imagine the TV rights they are getting. So now the Premier League top 6 want to like get something for themselves. It's suddenly a problem. You know, so yeah, there's really nothing. Everybody's just looking out for themselves. It's a big money festival.
Yeah, I mean the expansion isn't it to make it or make the competition or make it bigger, like more inclusive.
Yes, it is. But at the end of the day, UEFA is getting more money because there'll be over 100 games, and so
wasn't there a similar change in 2016?
No, the Champions League has always been 8 groups of 4 teams, and then second round, quarterfinals, semi-finals. Yeah. So now it's going to be like a long stretch of games, you know, with more teams, you know. And so I think, I assume that the money they have might even now be spread thin across the whole teams, you know.
Which is better for everybody, I guess.
No, so the top teams, like Arsene Wenger said in 2009, that the top teams want more money. So here you go, even expanding the competition to 36 teams and then spreading the money thinner to other teams. So they're not even getting more money. So like I said, these are conversations.
So I'm looking at the smaller teams.
Yeah, these are conversations that happen
for the smaller teams.
Yes, but not for the big teams. So the big teams now, these are conversations they've had with UEFA over the years, behind the scenes, and they didn't get the deal they wanted. So now JP Morgan comes and drops all that money, and they're like, we're going here.
Well, we have to wait and see how all of this is going to play out. When is it starting, the Super League?
I don't know. There is a report that says August. They want to start August. There's a report that says maybe 2022 or 2023. You know.
Well, we have to wait and see how it will play out when it eventually starts. But of course, I have to say thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And sharing your thoughts on this.
Thank you very much.
Very contentious issue of Ifreke Inyang, sports editor at Daily Post Nigeria. We'll take a break and we'll be back with a different topic entirely. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. Now we have joining us via Zoom, Wande Adalemo. He is the co-director at Founder Institute, and he is also an entrepreneur and a tech expert. It's a pleasure to have you on the program today, Wande.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here as well.
Indeed. Thanks again. So, I mean, of course, you must have seen all of the furore that was on social media, Twitter especially, after Twitter announced that they were coming to Africa and they made their choice of Ghana as their operational base. But again, it's been two sides of the same coin. There's been people who said it's a good one for Nigeria, and some say, well, it's a bad one. But I don't know. What did you feel when you got the news that Twitter is launching in Africa, but its operational base will be in Ghana?
So I was very indifferent because, for crying out loud, I saw all the noise, all the furore on Twitter, and it's because of our government is not doing well. It's an indication of how bad Nigeria is, and all the noise around it. And the first thing that came to my mind is, do we need validation? I mean, the biggest refinery, probably in Africa, maybe in the world, is being built here by one of the richest men in the world. BUA is building a sugar refinery and an electric plant in Akwa Ibom that will employ thousands of Nigerians. So let's assume that Twitter comes to Nigeria and sets up an office here. How many of us are they really employed? That's number one. Number two, I think it's really not a choice of where their head office will be and all the other rhetorics around freedom of speech, democracy. I mean, this is we've done handovers from one to the other. Even if you're not comfortable with the president of the country, the democratic process in Nigeria is a lot more advanced and much more mature than that of Ghana. So a lot of the rhetorics are just wrong. So I feel what I think that has happened is that it's a partnership between the Ghanaian government and Twitter. And don't forget that here in Nigeria we have Google, we have Facebook, we have Microsoft. That is talking about the tech space. We have Paystack, we have Flutterwave, we have InterSwitch. We have quite a number of these tech companies that are also here, and the headquarters are here. So Twitter deciding to go to Ghana, and then Nigerians making that much noise about that tiny bit of tech space, I think was out of place. For me, it doesn't change anything. The largest user base for Twitter in Africa is in Nigeria. In fact, to be pretty honest, we have almost 39 million Nigerians on Twitter. And that is much more than the entire population of Ghana. So if it was a question of where they should be situated, it should be here. But there are other decisions that come to play here. There is the question of politics. There's a question of partnerships. And of course, there's also the owner of Twitter, Jack Dorsey himself. Where does he like? Does he like Nigeria? Does he like Lagos? Or is he acclimatized to Ghana the more? And those are the conditions that will determine where they need to situate it. But I think it's simply the Ghanaian government lobbied, they got it, and then Twitter moved on there. Because hey, when the president of an African nation is lobbying you and you want to come to Africa, you go for the best options because you pay less taxes, you have less issues. I think it has nothing to do with the issues we have with the tech companies here, making Twitter determine where they will stay. It is more a political move and an economic move for Ghana. Will it have been an economic move for Nigeria? I doubt it very much. The total amount of adverts that is run online on Google and Facebook far outweighs what Nigerians run on Twitter. So for Nigeria, it really is not an economic decision for Twitter to come to Nigeria. And for crying out loud, a lot of other things economically are happening here.
All right, so I mean, like you said, it's been a culmination of so many things. But according to Twitter now, they're saying that Ghana is a supporter of free speech, online freedom, and the open internet, of which Twitter is also an advocate. Furthermore, Ghana's recent appointment to host the Secretariat of the African Continental Free Trade Area aligns with our overreaching or overarching goal to establish a presence in the region that will support our efforts to improve and tailor our service across Africa. Now, that's the reason that Twitter gave as to why they chose Ghana. Yeah. Don't you think that, maybe it might not be political lobbying, like you said, and all of those other things?
Well, so for me, if anyone is talking about the African Continental Free Trade Area, right? If anyone is talking about it, right? What will come to my mind is where is the biggest market for AfCFTA? So if I set my headquarters in Ouagadougou as an example, or in Equatorial Guinea, does that make that significant for me to move to Africa? The biggest market is here. My biggest subscribers are in Nigeria. So those are just PR terms. And if you listen to what the Ghanaian president, Nana Akufo-Addo, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo said, he said that the choice of Twitter is excellent. And then he went on to say that it's a beautiful partnership between Ghana and Twitter, and that is critical for Ghana's development, for the important tech sector. Ghana needs something to leapfrog their tech sector. For Nigeria, it's almost like a new startup is created, is built every single day. The story is very different in Ghana. They need that sort of big name to encourage and kickstart their own tech revolution if they can get it. So if you look at the wordings of the president, all those statements about after being and then the open internet and free speech are public relation terms, right? They do not mean that Nigeria is such a bad place where, oh, so why is Google here? Why is Microsoft still here? Why is Oracle here? Why all these other big companies here? The international companies also here. Why is Stripe here? Why is Stripe buying a big a company in Nigeria? If that was the case, so I think that's just PR. I think what has happened is that Ghana decided to partner with Twitter for their important tech sector.
So why don't we even see this as a win for Africa? Why are we making it a Nigeria or a Ghana kind of, I mean, a Nigeria versus Ghana kind of war? I mean, it's not jollof rice. Come on, for crying out loud.
So Ghana are our big brothers. If we look at it from the angle of independence, they got their independence before we did, right? And there's been what we call the jollof wars all the while. I mean, if you're on Twitter, and on certain months of the year, the jollof war starts. I think it almost started shortly before the Twitter announcement. In fact, someone said that the next jollof wars, this is one of the cards that Ghanaians will pull out. So there's been this healthy rivalry between Nigeria and Ghana in sports, in tech, in manufacturing, in trade. It's been a healthy rivalry. So I think that is what led to all of this furore and the noise about Twitter going to Ghana and not Nigeria. Nigerians always want a win over Ghana. And that is why it is. But you're right, it's a win for Africa that we're beginning to attract the biggest tech companies in the world on the continent. And it also tells you, more importantly, that it tells you that we're beginning to be relevant when it comes to tech on the global scene. And Nigeria and Egypt, South Africa are leading. Ghana does not want to be left behind. And
well,
for me...
Go
ahead.
I was just going to say that I think, you know, that's a good spot to land, like to end the conversation. Nigeria, Egypt, and all of the countries that you made mention of that are leading. Of course, Ghana, nobody wants to be left behind. And of course, any effort to bring anybody on board is welcome so far. I mean, it's at the tail end of everything, you know, pushes Africa forward. But I'd have to say thank you for joining us today on the program. One day at Alemo.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here too.
Of course. Well, that's where we are. Let's now take a look at the most viewed videos on our YouTube channel in the past week.
Still attracting the interest of online viewers is the video of the parade of a police corporal and other suspects for alleged rituals and armed robbery, which comes in 5th place. It is followed by new entrants into the charts as former governor of Ekiti State claims that Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde is quiet but deadly.
Togri is shameful for our party. And you remember I was in Ondo? These same people came to Ondo to attack me. These same people came to Ondo and I told Governor Makinde. So I'm glad the whole world is seeing this. Governor Makinde, he looked quiet but deadly.
In 3rd place is the interview granted by President Muhammadu Buhari after his return from London for a short break.
Continuity.
The burial of an army captain and 11 other soldiers in Benue State, killed by yet-to-be-known gunmen, takes the 2nd spot. While in 1st place is the meeting between the Chief of Army Staff and members of the House of Representatives ad hoc committee.
On the same major issue, which borders on security, internal security of Nigeria, the national security question.
And that's the show this week. Thank you so very much for watching. I'm Victor Matthias.